Hello, hello, hello. Got a little bit of a delay going on, but I'll do a sound check here in just a second. Make sure everybody can hear me okay. Let's just try to get this out of the way here. Let me pull this up. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Give me just a second here. Had a little delay tonight. There we go. I was not seeing the chat. Just making sure that everybody can hear and see and hear me okay. Oops, did not hit send. If you can, give me a thumbs up. That would just help me out. Before we get too far into it. Not sure why I'm going to try to fix this one little delay that we've got going on here. Let's see here. That should be working okay. So hello and welcome everybody. My name is Mike Murphy and welcome to tonight's live stream. Open mic night as I used to call it way back when. I'm going to play with that for a little while. Maybe I'll just call it something else. But for now, open mic night is on every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. And every Monday night I'm going to try to focus on something. Everything will be related to content creation, running an online business, trying to make it as a content creator, and helping you learn the tools that you're going to be using to create online content, which is basically what my entire channel is focused on. I'm trying to just teach you things that I think will help in the whole content creation process. So each week I'm hoping to try to tackle a topic or do a live demonstration of something that I do on a regular basis that I think will help you. And it's always open to any questions, anything that you're having trouble with, not sure how to do, something you're wanting to learn, or always wanted to do but not sure how to do it. This night is totally for Q&A and just anything that you're have on your mind related to stuff that I teach, tutorials that I've made, or things that you're working on yourself and maybe a little stuck and need help. So so tonight is last week I did a Screenflow walkthrough. I was starting to do Screenflow walkthrough, and we started to get into a lot of Q&A, which is my favorite. So I didn't actually do what I had planned to do originally, which was to edit a video live. And so I thought tonight, if it was quiet, I would do that. I would just sort of edit and walk through my process, sort of explain what I'm doing. It might be a little difficult for me to get through it all, talking and doing it at the same time, but we'll see how that goes. And if it gets interrupted to where we're just doing Q&A chat discussion, then I'm all for that. So I thought I'd give it just a little bit to, I like to just make sure that there's enough time for people to get in, and then I'll jump into Screenflow. And I'll give you kind of a behind the scenes of my process for editing tutorials. And Screenflow is the tool that I primarily use. I use a lot of different tools. Mostly, I would say the majority of the stuff I do is either in the Adobe Creative Cloud or Screenflow. I'd say Screenflow takes up the majority of my time because I'm constantly making tutorials and just doing things in Screenflow. And if you look at my channel, there's a lot of Screenflow videos. So I do think that there are a lot of people who have found me trying to learn Screenflow. So if this live stream is helpful for being the Screenflow resource for people, the one-on-one training resource for Screenflow, then I'm all for that. This entire live stream was set up primarily to try to provide a one-to-one helpful, whether it's a training, just meeting each other, talking, discussing things related to creating online content, open to see where it evolves to. But originally my concept was to, rather than just uploading short tutorials, making myself available once a week for you, the community, and to be here to answer any questions or help people. Sometimes it's kind of tough to write a comment of what you're stuck on, and it's a lot easier oftentimes to just have that person being able to dialogue back and forth. So that's why I started these online weekly live streams on Monday night 9 p.m. every Monday. I anticipate it's going to take a little while, I think, to ramp up. But yeah, I think I have a lot of things planned for this night. I'm hoping to maybe collaborate with a few other creators, sort of do some cross promotion or cross, meeting new audiences type things. And so I'm working on a few different things to get other people involved and make this into a good night. So let me get things ready here. I'm going to jump into Screenflow, and let me just let me should be seeing Screenflow, but I'm not seeing it pop up, but let me just hopefully this was. Let me jump into Screenflow. I'm not sure why it's not popping up. Let me see if that works. Yeah, so there we go. That is not the video that I thought I was in, but let's make it work. I'm going to try to get me out of my circle. just get up a little bit. There we go. So here I am in Screenflow 10. And in case anybody's wondering, I'm using version 10.0.5. That is the latest Screenflow. Let me just do one thing here. I'm using version 10. Okay, just making sure that everybody could hear. So I am in Screenflow 10. And one thing I'm going to point out to the back, we talked about this last week, somebody was bringing it up. You see here the thumbnails down here on the timeline, they're kind of big, which some people love. If you're on a really small computer, that might not be helpful. But in the preferences, you can get to the preferences by going to Screenflow, preferences in the top, Command comma is the keyboard shortcut. And if you go to the second tab, which is timeline, you're going to see here this little default track height. I have it set to large. If you set it to regular, click OK. The next time you open Screenflow, I can actually just close this down, reopen it. And now the thumbnails are smaller. So it depends on your preferences, how you like to see. If you want to see them big, you can set the default as making them larger. And you can always come over to the left sidebar here. You're going to see these little tracks, so you can move these tracks. But there's these little arrows. If you click on the arrows on the far left next to the little eyeball, you can expand or shrink. So this is the small preference that you can set in the preferences, which is pretty small. And then this is the regular, and then this is the large size. So they're not super huge, but that'll, if you want to make your clips a little bit bigger, easier to see on the timeline, you can just click on these little arrows. And then if you, if you wanted to do, have them always come in big no matter what, you just go up to the preferences, go into timeline, and then to set that to the default track height to large. And if you don't go into the preferences of Screenflow, I do recommend you going in there and just poking around, because there are a few things in there that that you might find helpful. One in particular I will show you right here is, so my hard drive just reset and I'm missing a few things, so I might be fumbling to find things. But if you were to drag on a thumbnail, or an image I should say, any still graphic, if I just drag this onto the timeline, when you zoom into the timeline, so if I zoom in, let me try to make this big so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll get myself out of the way there. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to bring that back. Another bonus tip, something I do all the time to bring stuff from the media bin onto your timeline. You can just drag it on. You can double click on it. Or if you come down to the very bottom left here, you're going to see this little arrow. Or not the very, very bottom left. You see this little plus? You click on that, and that allows you to basically select anything from your media bin. So it makes it a lot easier to see. You can just click on this, and then I can just select it, and wherever your playhead is, that's where it's going to insert that. So that little plus symbol right there is a really quick way to grab things from your media bin and just put them on the timeline. And while we're in major tip mode, let me zoom out of here, so I want you to be able to see it. Let me come down here. Sorry, I gotta play this dance with Ecamm to make sure that I can see everything. So let me make me a little smaller. Let's just see, make sure you can see me. So I just brought in a still image here. So this is a thumbnail here, and it's smaller. I have a 5K monitor. This is a 1920 by 1080 pixel graphic, but I use this in the beginning of my videos, and I want it to fill up the entire timeline. Well, I could drag it up to the corners, and I have the bounding box, so I could just, you know, pull the edges and resize it. Or what I typically do when I drag this on and it's smaller, I right click or control click, and I choose scale to fit. And when I do that, it fills up the entire canvas, and I don't have to worry about resizing it to the exact measurements. It fills up the entire canvas. Alan, you bet. You're welcome. I'm not sure what tip you're referring to. I think it was the earlier one, but I'm glad that helped you. Yeah, so this right-clicking scale to fit, that's a real helpful one to just fill up your timeline. Okay. So I am going to, another thing I do a lot of times is I will scale up my timeline by just pulling up to give myself a little room. Oftentimes it's a little dance. Command minus, command plus to zoom in to your canvas. I use that quite a bit. So for me, I do a little, you know, I do a little dance between working on my timeline, working on the canvas, going back and forth. So it really just depends. If I really need to do something down in the timeline, then I might really zoom into my timeline and, you know, get granular with that. Sometimes I really want to just zoom back out of my timeline and do stuff up in the, you know, move things around up in the canvas. So I might zoom in and make some adjustments, but knowing how to resize everything in your canvas or in your Screenflow workflow is, or workspace is, you know, helpful. So Alan is asking, what software am I using to live stream? I am using Ecamm Live, which if you're not familiar with Ecamm Live, I can highly recommend it. It is an excellent piece of software. It really is an amazing piece of software. It can do so much. It's got just a really user-friendly I mean, live streaming in general, I think, is tricky. You know, it just requires a lot of different things, and Ecamm Live makes it as easy as the live stream, you know, platform, I think, can make it. You really can do anything you want in Screenflow or in Ecamm, and it's just it can be, you know, you really could set yourself up for a pretty you know, great live stream if you really took the time and prepared your scenes in advance. So yeah, so that's a good, yeah, so all I'm doing is just basically adding it to the, you know, I can add it to the live stream. I can resize it, which honestly, I've heard people in the Ecamm community say that is one of the reasons, or, you know, one of their favorite features, one of the reasons that they do it, so they can see the comments. You know, I do love that, actually. Yeah, Ecamm is truly, it's truly pretty amazing what you can do with it. You know, it's still, you still have to navigate. You know, I'm still working my way through a lot of different things of being able to, you know, seamlessly go between scenes and whatnot. But it really is. What I like about Ecamm is that it's kind of like Screenflow. It's, you know, even though Screenflow, I think, originally started just to be a screen recorder, you can use it for so much more. And Ecamm, honestly, its power isn't even really just in live streaming. I mean, it's just recording videos on your, you know, if you're a tutorial maker, you know, if you're doing any type of presentation stuff where you're making videos, Ecamm is a perfect solution for a lot of people, whether you're going live or not. So really, really great tool. Anyways, back to Screenflow. So I start every video. I do a couple things. First, I drag on my thumbnail. I then right click on my thumbnail and I choose add an ending transition. I don't add a starting transition. I'll show you why. If you add a starting transition, then it starts on whatever is before it. Let me just get rid of the sound. I don't like the way it fades on. I like it to stay on my graphic, but then when it's done, it fades into the video that I'm working on. So I usually just add an ending transition, so it really just depends on what you put in the beginning. But that's how I start all my videos. Another thing I do in every one of my videos is I like to have the so this has got a picture of me in all these, but let's just see if I can find something here. Let me do this. So if we, so you can see the little cursor there, right? I'm gonna hide this. So I've got a cursor. The one thing I do on every video is I make the cursor size big, and I like my tutorials for the cursor to be visible. Sometimes I'll do like the radar effect or something graphic-y if I really want to draw attention to it, but for the most part I like to make it big. So I select all of the screen recordings, and another little tip, if you have a lot of clips, a tool down here in the bottom left, if you look at this one right here that's N, it's called track select. Oops, it's not going to allow me to see it. Dang it. Let me try to get up here. I don't know if I'm going to get. So if I go down to the very bottom left and click on the arrow facing up, you'll see here track select. The keyboard shortcut is N. So let me try to make it a little clearer. I'm going to zoom in on this. Okay. So what I want to do is select all of these clips right here. Okay. So I can drag a selection, but maybe I had a lot more clips that went further down the timeline. Come down here, I click on this track select tool, which is N. I don't actually click on it. I just type the keyboard shortcut N. That one's a must-know keyboard shortcut for me. I tap on the letter N, and when you do, you see your cursor turns into that right-facing arrow. So all I do is just click, and it selects everything to the right. And you can do it with multiple layers. So I could press the Shift key and click on that layer. I could click on that layer. Every single thing to the very end of the timeline is going to be, everything to the right is going to be selected. And man, oh man, Alan, thank you so much. You're my first super chat. And I think I just made myself giant. So in super chat fashion, thank you. Really, thank you. Unnecessary, but thank you so much. I appreciate that, Alan. That makes my day more than you know, hearing that the videos help you. That's why I do it. So I select everything by clicking on that track select tool. And just so you know, the keyboard shortcut's N, but you want to get back to A when you're done with selecting all. If you stay on N, you won't be able to do a lot of things. You'll wonder what's going on. So you tap A to go back to the main selection tool, tap N to select all. And then I come up to, let me go up here. I'm going to come up to the top here. I come up to the top. I go to this one right here. This is the screen recording tab. I click on the styles. I have a style preset for pointer 500. Let me try, before I click on it, let me try to bring this up. So I'm going to click on this pointer 500, and I want you to look at the cursor. So here we go. I'm going to click on it, and now you see that cursor got really big. So might be too big. I'm kind of zoomed way in, so it's going to look a little bit obnoxious at that. But you see here, the way people are seeing it is it just makes the cursor, by making the cursor bigger, I think it makes it easier for the viewers to see, especially if they're on a mobile phone. Rather than having like a colored graphic, I like to make the cursor big, and I do that on every one of my videos. So that's just a little, let me zoom back out here. Probably the hardest part of doing the screen shares is navigating between the zoom in, zoom out, because I definitely want you to be able to see what's going on. And if you're just joining, welcome. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for stopping by. And today we are in Screenflow, or wherever it ends up, but primarily I'm just walking through a typical Screenflow workflow that I take, or that I do for every video, and trying to share little nuggets of information and tips and things that I do along the way, in hopes that it helps you. But any questions about Screenflow, or even if something else pops up, by all means, drop it in the comments. Alrighty, so now that I've got my cursor big, you see, got to make sure you go back to A, the quick selection tool, or the track select tool. Another thing you can do is work with your audio, which I don't always do anymore because I kind of have a different setup. But I used to have a style preset for my audio. I do still have one, but I'm experimenting a little bit, so I don't always do it. But I do recommend, if you are doing something over and over again in Screenflow, to really take advantage of the style presets. They are invaluable to me for saving time. So anything that I'm doing over and over again, whether I'm making, text the same formatting, or showing keystrokes, I like to have them a certain format or a certain font. So anything that you're doing over and over again, save it as a style preset so you don't have to recreate it every single time. And you can save a lot as a style preset. So you really don't have to, every single one of the properties in the inspector panel has the ability to save a style preset. Okay, so when I edit, I'm going to turn down the sound a little bit. I'm going to do that by tapping on V. Let's actually, let me mute this. If you select clips and tap on V, so you see here, this is me right here. I went through some of these tips last week, so if you were here last week, I apologize if you're seeing a duplicate, but here's a clip right here. This is the webcam of me. If I tap on the letter V, it disappears. If you look down on the timeline, so let me come down here and move this around. You'll see this clip right here. Back. I don't know why. Let me make sure my audio is coming in okay. I have a feeling I got something going on with my audio. I don't know why let's jump into it. I just got a little message about audio, so hopefully everything's coming okay. So if you select a clip and tap on the letter V, that will disable that clip. So you can see right here, it's kind of out of screen a little bit. I tap on V, it's going to just basically hide or disable that clip, which is useful in many situations. If you have a lot of things going on, it's cluttered, and you just don't want to see everything, just tap on the letter V. It disables that clip. I mean, you can select all the clips, tap on V. Maybe you don't want to see, you know, the webcam right now, or you're working on something else. If you just want to hide something or disable it, letter V. I'm going to zoom back out, and then so I'll show you something, a little trick that I do. Not a trick, but a style preset. So I do, again, I'm trying to make this in view so you can see it, but I like to have my webcam down in the lower corner in a little circle. So what I'll typically do is select all of the webcam clips at the beginning, and I might change this throughout, but this is just a shortcut. And I'm going to go into the video tab. So let me bring up the video tab. That's in the top corner. It's the very first one. So I'm going to select all of the clips down here. I'm going to tap on N and go to the beginning, so they're all selected. And now you're having trouble seeing it, but let's just balance that out. So I've got all the clips selected. I'm on the video tab in the top right. I'm going to click on the style preset because I have a style preset for this. I'm going to click on circle, and nothing happened. That's because I didn't click on it. So I'm going to click on circle, and now I have a circle. And if I go down the timeline, all of my webcam clips are now with me in the circle. And you can change the circle. You can adjust it if it's not, or if you're not in frame. In this case, looks like I'm a little bit off, but you can adjust that. But I have a style preset for circle in different sizes or different parts of the screen. So if I know I want to be in another part of the screen, I can just hit a style preset to move that around. And sometimes, you know, sometimes you'll get too many style presets. I do, and sometimes I purge if I have too many, or if I'm confused what they are. Sometimes I'll get rid of them and just kind of start over and just use the ones that I use over and over again. So in this case, I use this one the most, and I generally just keep that one. And again, I can move this around if I just want to manually do it. But this just gives me doing these little things at the beginning. I mean, this is a tip in and of itself as you're making videos, is if you have a style that you're developing for your videos or something that you're repetitive doing, try to get those, I wouldn't say automated, but try to get them so you have things set up to make it faster. If you know you're always doing certain things a certain way, try to create a system that makes it easy for you to complete a video, like the things that you're doing over and over again. Templatize everything you can do as best you can. Sometimes it takes time. It took me a long time before I developed like a workflow that was consistent, but once I did, now it's just certain things I do without even thinking about. And if you stick around for, I promised last week that within 6 weeks there would be a course out, and I don't know what it's gonna, how big it's gonna be, or how long. I'm hoping it's a pretty compact class, because that's the way I like to learn, fast and easy, but good. And so I'm trying to put together a sort of start to finish workflow for beginner Screenflow people, or for people who are just want to ramp up their tutorial making, online class making, all geared towards people who are making educational content for the most part. I mean, if you're just making regular videos in Screenflow, you'll still pick up tips, but that is in the works now. I'm really working hard to get this out. But yeah, those are going to be the things that I'm going to try to convey in this class, is ways that you can speed up your workflow. And it really just comes down to developing a system, developing a style, developing your sort of signature sauces and moves and things that you do over and over again, and then just using the tools to help make that easier and easier to recreate, so you don't have to, recreate the wheel each time. So let me zoom back out. At the end of my videos, I always put a kind of logo screen. I'm going to mute this last one, so I'm just going to tap on V and hide that last one. That'll hide the visual and it will mute the track. I'm going to go up into my media library. I have a global library and I have a logo, and I can just double click on the logo and I know that's going to go right to the center. I have a style preset to size that. So I'm going to go to the video tab. I'm going to click the style preset. I'm going to click on my logo style preset, and now it does the size that I want. Pretty cool. I'm going to bring that to the end. Oh, I started to say this in the beginning, but I got sidetracked. So when I dragged out this logo, let's go to the beginning. I'll go to because you can see the time. So when I dragged out the logo and I dragged out the thumbnail, it went to the 5-second mark. This must have changed because I used to do 4. So when I'm going to delete that logo, I'm going to drag it back on. So I haven't done anything. You'll see here it's 5 seconds long. If I go up to the Screenflow preferences, Screenflow preferences, if I come down here, the first tab is general, the second one's timeline. If I come down to the bottom on the default duration, you'll see here it says still images. It's currently set to 5 seconds. I don't know why, because I always set it to 4. So I must have changed it for some reason. I tap on 4, hit enter. And now I'm going to delete that again. I'm going to drag on my logo and watch what happens. The default duration when I drag on still images is 4 seconds long. So every time I drag on a still image, it should go to the 4-second mark automatically. What happens is when you use the defaults, a lot of times, you drag it on, let's say the default was 7 seconds. Well, then if you find yourself always resizing it to 4 seconds, that's your preference whenever you make an annotation, let's say, or you do something over and over again, and you're always changing it each time, even though it might take you a second, those little things will add up and help. If you're able to fix those in the settings to the preferences that that you actually want in your workflow, those little changes that you make speed up your workflow considerably. They add up. So that's just something I like to do. I like to have 4 seconds. The default is 5. I must have reset something and I didn't even notice it, but not the end of the world. So I'm going to drag this to the end, my logo. And basically what I do most of the time is when I'm editing a video is I just set everything up kind of as I'm in the beginning, knowing the things that I'm always going to do. I just get everything ready to go. This is before I edit. I just get all the things that I know that I'm going to put in my final project and just try to speed things up as best I can. For me, it's all about, I like to do a good job, but I really like to be fast. I like to be able to if your video editing becomes a real chore where you're not enjoying it or where it's becoming just a burden, you'll burn out. So I really try to make my video editing and making my tutorials kind of enjoyable. I can now edit videos to where I'm kind of moving fast. Some are challenging, some are harder than others. Sometimes they really beat me up. Sometimes I have a hard time recording some of them. Some of them I get it in the first try. Yeah, so I mean, making videos is hard for everybody. I don't care who is on YouTube that makes it look easy. It's difficult. And, you know, sometimes it's easy, but I'm probably stressing this too much, but coming up with a system to make it as easy as possible is going to allow you to be able to create more content. If you're frustrated making videos and you're not working on making it easier and better for you, you're going to talk yourself out of, you're going to burn out. So for me now, I've got it down to a pretty good system. And yeah, once I record a video, this part's the easy part for me, but so now I'm kind of ready to go. And what I'll do is I will just basically, I just go down the timeline. I listen, I play, I cut ruthlessly. My videos, I try to keep them 3 minutes or under. So if I see that I'm at the 3-minute mark, which, let's see, this is surprising. I don't know where I'm at here. Let's see where we're at. I'm going to go to the end here. Okay, so it looks like, what's my number there? Okay, so there is the 3-minute mark right there. Now I haven't edited this video. That I have to edit. If I want to get to 3 minutes or under, I need to get to edit this much, which I can tell you from experience that is not going to be a problem. I am very efficient in my recordings. I don't record much extra. I can tell you that. So a couple seconds is a lot for me to edit, but I am sure that I can usually get 5 to 10 seconds if I need to. And so basically what that means is when I'm editing, I am just trying to, I say I'm ruthless editing. I don't include anything that does not help the tutorial.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about
Oops. I don't know how that came about. I've got Siri talking to me that I didn't know Siri was on, but yeah, so for me, my tutorials, I try to keep them extremely fluff free is the word that I like to use, but I make sure that whatever is in my tutorials are helping the tutorial, or that they have to be there. If they are not crucial or essential to the learning the tutorial, I cut it. And again, I'm pretty strict about that. But if there's something that, if I have a niche or if I have a thing, it's definitely that I like things to be essential, or I don't like to inject my own little like opinions about something. It's my tutorials are for you to learn that thing without being super boring either. So what I do is I will just play back. I hit the space bar. Hi folks, it's Mike Murphy, and today's quick tip is in Adobe Creative Cloud Libraries. So I will, and today's quick tip is in Adobe Creative Cloud Libraries. And I'll listen to, throughout what I'm doing, and if there's something, again, if there's something that's like a a blip, a blurb. I'm not super picky about, little mistake type things, but if it's a word or a little sentence that just is redundant that I didn't catch the first time when I was recording, then it's cut. And then if there's a big gap in the thing, I'm always trying to just shave as much space as I can, knowing, especially if I know that I went over the 3 minutes, I know that I have some stuff to cut. But yeah, I will just go down the timeline. Spacebar to play and stop. Creative Cloud libraries. When I want to zoom, let me zoom in on here so we can really get granular here. You see here, there's a little libraries. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to relink a library graphic that is missing in one of your project files. So here, in Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. There's not a big gap there, but there is a pretty big gap here. Your project files. So here I am in Adobe Photoshop CC. So in a lot of things, like in podcasting, you want to have breaths and you want it to be, you want it to sound natural. You don't want it to feel rushed and cut every space and, every in between breaths. Like a lot of that is important. With the tutorials, for me in YouTube videos, you hear a lot about jump cuts and that. I wouldn't say necessarily that I do jump cuts. I kind of do, but I'm okay cutting the space between two different thoughts or two different things if it keeps things moving. To me, I think it moves it fast. I'm not looking for a slow dialogue in my videos. I'm looking for the efficient instructions. So for me, if there is a little space of gaps, I don't want it to be confusing, like to go from one sentence directly into another. But I am going to cut space faster than I would if I was like recording a podcast where I wanted it to sound more natural, like the way somebody would speak. But so I will come into the space project files. So here I am. I'm going to press the shift key. I'm going to click on the playhead. You see I got that blue line. I'm just going to drag this to fill it. I'm covering that empty space. I'm going to press the command key. I'm going to tap on the delete key. And this is going to ripple delete this little section. Ripple delete, if you don't use it, it's the number one thing that I do. It's probably the first thing you should learn. Well, you should learn how to cut. That's T. And ripple delete, shift drag to select, then command delete will ripple delete. It is going to delete everything underneath this blue area here, and it's going to pull everything to the right to fill up that gap. So it shifts the entire timeline to fill up that gap. So command delete, and that just cut that section that I did not need, and it pulled everything to the right on all layers over, so the timing is still there, and you just move down your timeline doing this. This is video editing 101. You just go down the timeline, you cut, you trim, you space things out as best you can to make it sense, and then you delete everything in between. So here I am in Adobe Photoshop CC 2022. And it looks like I should probably pay more attention, but it looks like that I might be out of sync a little bit up top, which is unusual for me. But I am seeing... Hi folks, it's Mike Murphy, and today's quick tip is in Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to... I'm looking at myself right here. Relink a library graphic that is missing. Oops, you can't see it, so that doesn't help one bit. So I'm looking at myself in one of your project files. So here I am in Adobe Photoshop CC 2022. It feels as though I'm off just a little bit, so I'm a little concerned about that, but it might be because of my setup right now, which is possible. So I'm going to carry on, and then I can always go back and revisit this off air. where I was thinking is that my webcam was, the video and audio were not synced. So let me just go back here. Red question mark. Project files. So here I am in Adobe Photoshop CC 2022. Let me try to get you a little more visual. Open this project file, and on the top layer here, I'm seeing a red question mark. The red question. Okay, so there's a lot of space there. Layer here. And on the top layer here, I'm seeing a red question mark. The red question mark indicates that there is a broken link between this layer and the original or the source file that this layer is referencing. It can't find the original source file. Maybe you deleted it, or maybe you moved the location on the hard drive, and all you... My goodness, my circle is really I didn't do a good job of staying center. What you need to do is relink it. You will see the red question mark when there is a broken link between the layer and the original reference file for smart objects and for files that you store in your Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. This file has a cloud icon for... See, that was a little messy. Smart objects and for files that you store in your Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. This file has a cloud icon for the... You can probably hear that was not intended, so let me just see what we got here. This file, that seemed a little bit off, so I'm going to pull. So this file has... So what I did there, and it might be hard to tell, but what I did there was I could tell that I was cut off. My audio was cut off, and chances are that it just got smushed on the timeline, whether I was being careless about putting the clips together, but I just dragged out the top, or the top and the tail, or the front of that clip, and there was more audio, so I was able to pull out a little bit more. So this file has, so I can, it's not as choppy. So I'm going to press the Shift key, click, drag out a selection, press the Command key, tap on the Delete key, and that is going to ripple delete this middle section here. So it's going to delete that empty space, and it's going to pull all the clips to the right. Let me zoom back out here so you can see it maybe. Let me come down here. I'll just zoom out the timeline. So I'm going to hit Command Delete. You're going to see it's going to fill out that gap and then pull everything to the right, including that layer on the very end. Command Delete. Oops. Apparently Command Delete is also a keyboard shortcut for this camera on Ecamm. So my apologies. Go back to Ecamm. So Command Delete, that deleted that clip, and it brought everything to the right. So for smart objects and for files, let me pull down a little bit. Files that you store in your Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. So this file has a cloud icon for the thumbnail. That indicates that this graphic file was stored in my Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. So I either deleted the original source file when I was cleaning things up, or I moved the original source file to another location on my hard drive, and now Photoshop or any... So typically, I'm kind of doing this is where I knew it would be a challenge doing this live, but right now I'm sort of just listening and making sure that things are making sense. Whereas in many cases, when I am editing my videos, I'll be honest with you, I'm doing an all for one. I'm listening, I'm looking, I'm zooming in, zooming out, I'm making the videos work. I'm kind of doing a live edit. So when I'm done, when I get to the end of the timeline, I might go back through it one more time to make sure that I got everything. But for the most part, I am doing a live edit from start to finish, and I hope that by the time I get to the end, the video is pretty much done. I am, might need some tweaking, or I might find some areas where I could do better. But yeah, so right now, because because it's a little bit difficult for me to actually, show you what I'm doing and also, edit at the same time. I'm trying to do a little bit of both. So I'm listening to the audio, cutting things when I can, and let's see where we're at in the, so we're not at the 3 minute yet. This is the 3 minute mark right here. So I'm trying to get to this part. I'm trying to cut this enough information so I can make sure that we're under 3 minutes. This is going to be a piece of cake. I know that, even though there's not a lot of this video left. I will cut things that are even maybe good, or maybe like not necessarily extra information, but things that are not, if they're missing, I basically will cut anything that if they are missing and it doesn't make a difference to the tutorial, then it goes. That's sort of my rule of thumb. Even if it's good information, it might be helpful, it might be kind of a good little piece of knowledge that wouldn't hurt to know. But if it doesn't directly impact the tip that I'm teaching, or if it's deleted and you can still learn everything that I'm teaching, I usually delete it. But I'm a little neurotic when it comes to that stuff, so, or I'm particular with it. So Photoshop CC 2022. I just opened this project file, and on the top layer here, I'm seeing a red question mark. The red question mark indicates that there is a broken link between this layer and the original, or the source file that this layer is referencing. It can't find the original source file. Maybe you deleted it, or maybe you moved the location on the hard drive, and all you need to do is relink it. You will see the red question mark. That's a pretty big pause. I can get rid of a second. I can get rid of a microsecond there. Why not, right? Shift, click, drag, command, delete, and you just ripple deleted. You will truly, if you are learning Screenflow, command delete is the thing that you have to, you shouldn't even know that you're doing it. I ripple delete without even realizing what I did because it's so automatic. If there's anything that you do in Screenflow, learn ripple delete. And the other thing you need to learn is just tap on the T. The letter T will split clips. So I just split that clip. Undo. If you ever want to undo. T to split. That's it. And move down the timeline. So you don't have to listen to that over and over again. You will see the red question mark when there is a broken link between the layer and the original reference file for smart objects and for files that you store in your Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. So this file has a cloud icon for the thumbnail. That indicates that this graphic file was stored in my Adobe Creative Cloud libraries. So I either deleted the original source file when I feel like I've heard that at least 5 times, cleaning things up, or I moved the original source file to another location on my hard drive, and now Photoshop or any of the other Adobe Creative Cloud libraries that are referencing that graphic can no longer find the graphic. So all I need to do is relink the file and it will update everywhere. One thing to note, I'll move down the timeline. If you try to make any edits to this, so if I that would be something that I probably would get rid of. Hit Command T in this layer. You see I get this warning that says, I cannot transform this layer because the smart object is missing. So in order for me to be able to transform or make edits, here is a super secret ninja tip, okay? For those of you that are hanging around or watching this in the replay, which it looks like is probably going to be the case for a lot of people, I'm going to show you a super secret tip. If you catch this tip, I've made a tutorial about it, so it's not that secret, but it is a monstrous tip, I think. And I'm going to try to line it up so it's easy to see. Okay. It's going to be a little difficult to see. Let's just see here. Okay. I'll make it bigger so it's clear. So I've got a big video here of me, right? Let me come down here. I'll come down here and just zoom out. So I've got this big circle of me up here, okay? So we're on this clip right here. I'll drag the timeline to the next clip. And now I've got the small clip down here. If I want the small, if I want to copy this clip, or if I want this clip, if I want this small clip to look exactly like this big clip, let's say that I made some adjustments to this and I really like it, but I moved on to the next clip. So it changed. You see here, the reason it's changing is because it's cut. So if I move on to this, I'm like, I want it to be like this. Well, you could go up to into the, you could come up into the up into the property panels and change everything. Or here's a super secret tip. Select the clip that you want to basically copy the properties of. Command C. I'm copying, okay? I'm going to come to this tip. Oops. I jumped the gun. So I'm selecting the second clip. So this is a small one. So we just copied this. So on this one, I hit Command C to copy, okay? On this one, I'm going to press Command Option I. And what that just did is it copied all of the properties from the clip that I just copied and pasted it onto this. This is a powerful move in Screenflow. What you're doing is it's almost like you're creating a style preset on the fly. If you do something and you're like, oh, I like that, I cropped it perfectly, it's sized the way I want it, but I don't want to have to go and manually have to change all the parameters and the scale and the you don't have to do anything. You can copy and paste the properties. Learn that tip. It's a big one. Let me see if I can find up here. Yeah, so if I select and copy and I come up to the top menu here and go to edit, let me get me out of the way. I'll go here. If I go up to the edit menu, you'll see here paste properties, and there's this video property, Option Command I, that's the first one. That is going to allow you to basically copy the properties of the video. It's really, really a big time saver. And something I do all the time. Okay, so let me come back, zoom out. Actually, let me zoom in, zoom up. So that is basically, again, my process, going down, trimming out whatever I can possibly trim out, and then I go back through and I will more or less try to visualize how my audience is going to watch the videos. And so if I am talking about something over in this library here, I am going to make it so this library is very easy to see. That might mean moving my video, so I might need to move myself somewhere. If I am talking about something in this library, which in this video I am going to make sure that whatever I'm referring to this little question mark right there, which is hard to see. But when I'm making the video and I'm talking about this question mark right there, I am conscious that whoever is watching this video, you are going to be able to see what I'm referring to, and it's not distracting. It's just seamlessly where that is the storytelling part of making a tutorial. I geek out about this a little bit when it comes to tutorials, but in my head, I am following this flow of me telling people how to do something, and I am weaving the instructions through the flow of the video, how you're seeing the video. I've changed my approach a few different times, and it depends on the video. But I will make it fairly abrupt, the cuts, because I want it to be, I almost don't want you to notice. Like, I don't want a fancy transition a lot of times because I don't want to slow and distract. I want it to be, when I'm talking, I want that thing to be visible and on the screen, and so you're able to follow along. And that all comes to the placement that you do of, where's the video? If I have myself in a video, if I'm way over to the left of the screen and what I'm talking about is to the far right, I'm conscious about, I don't want people to have to look over here where they're missing what I'm talking about. So this is getting a little in the weeds, but when you're editing a video, though, you are, whether you're telling a cinematic story or writing a video, you are basically guiding the viewer on how you want them to view that video. So be conscious of that. It's something that's kind of understated, but as I'm making a video, I'm imagining myself watching this video, and I want to make it, I want to be able to look at my phone or my computer and watch this tutorial and not have to do much work, but learn what came there to learn. And that's where the editing magic is. So, and Screenflow is more than capable to do everything you need. Very powerful tool. If you want to zoom back out, I go scale to fit, and that'll bring it back into play. And we'll go down to the corner, medium corner. That will bring me down to that corner. And again, a lot of it's just a balance of going down the timeline, editing, and it can be it can be where the challenge is if you're talking about things on different sides, you have to really sometimes compromise what you're showing, or sometimes it can be tricky if you're talking about two different things and you don't really know what to focus on. You zoom out, but can the audience, can the viewers see what you're talking about? just be conscious of that. Always be conscious of, you know, I almost don't take my words as being important at all. Or I try to, I try to make the visuals of what I'm doing almost speak for themselves. So if they're on mute, it would kind of still make sense. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, so that's basically, I think tonight, since it's a kind of a quiet night, and I am going to edit this video, but it's not going to really make sense to hear the sound, because it's just going to get more distracting for you. So I think we'll wrap it up tonight on this one, since there's only a kind of a small turnout. But hopefully, again, if you joined tonight, thank you. Ellen, thank you so much for my first super chat ever. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for coming by. Hopefully you picked up some tips on Screenflow. I try to share whatever I use on a regular basis. So hopefully a few things maybe you haven't heard before, haven't seen before, came in handy for you, or come in handy while you're editing in Screenflow. I am always available if you have questions. Hop in any comment. Just drop me a question if you have tutorial requests. If there's something you want to learn, by all means, let me know. And again, every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing a live stream where we'll be talking about Screenflow, After Effects, Photoshop, Adobe Audition, maybe a little Premiere. I don't use Premiere. I'm kind of intermittent on Premiere, but I'm sure we'll touch on that as well. But we'll probably do a lot of Screenflow, After Effects, Photoshop, Audition, and all that fun stuff that I like to use. Let me pull up a thing here. So there's the graphic for Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm in Florida, so that's Eastern U.S. time. Here's a little fun graphic. We did this on week 2 or week 1 or something similar, I think. Oh, I didn't even play through my cameras. I didn't play through any of my cameras. So yeah, so I hope that you do join me every Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, where we will be going over all things content creation, online business, and creating the life you want. So my name is Mike Murphy. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining my channel. It means a lot to me, hearing all the comments, hearing all the questions that I have. It's just the community slowly growing, and it means a lot to me when I hear that people are saying, hey, that helped, or I learned something, or I saved them frustration, something that they've been trying to learn. That really, I think I can't understate how, or I can't say enough how much it means when I hear all that, because that is basically why I create the tutorials. I really do hope they help, and when I hear that they do, that makes my whole day. So thank you everybody for joining me today. I'll go out on let's get a little tunes going here. Hopefully those are coming through. Maybe, maybe not. But thank you, and we'll see you next week, Monday night. Peace.